Hello, my name is David Sadler, and my wife and I own and operate Sadler & Son Monument Works. Today I'd like to show y'all the process of taking big raw blocks out of the granite quarries and turning them into finished memorials. So if you would please, come on and follow me this way. I'm a fine arts stone sculptor. I show my artwork from coast to coast. I've been to California, Colorado, Georgia, Texas, New Mexico. I got started in the monument business because my dad worked for a big company over in Lubbock, Texas all of my life. I had 7 brothers and sisters, and when we were all little bitty kids, we grew up on a monument setting truck. And so from a very young age, my dad began to teach me the monument business and trade. I never knew as a child that I would grow up and own the most successful monument business in Lee County in West Texas. I was around 22, 23 years old when we went out on our own and started our own business. I was in business with my dad for about 7 years, and then he helped me here in Hobbs put in my own shop and get everything going. So we had a small business partnership, and my wife and I took off. And I got married very young. I got married when I was 19 years old. The first time I ever heard the voice of God, literally, I was frying hamburgers. My wife walked in, my body melted, and God said, "That is the woman that you'll marry and spend the rest of your life with." I've been married 28 years this month. I have one child. He's a 19-year-old son, and that's where we got the name Sadler & Son Monument. When we first started out next door, back when we were around 23 years old, we had one little roll of monuments out there. 23, 24 years later, we have over 3 acres of finished monuments, landscape boulders, monumental boulders, and sculpture products. One of the nicest projects I've done is up north of Santa Fe at Buffalo Thunder Casino and Resort. We did the big signs out in front, and we did all the signage for the Hilton, and all the registration signs, big gigantic signs. So we went up there and did all the work on the site. Here in Lee County, we've had the great honor of donating the 9/11 Memorial. County War Memorial in Lovington at the courthouse. We've had the great honor of doing over 100 monuments at the historical cemetery, the Everglades Cemetery. We've also done the Hobbs Eagles sculptures at the high school. Many people in the monument business know my wife and me, and they know my wife is such a great part of the backbone and structure of our business. I wouldn't want to do it without her. She's the general manager of our business. She manages all the daily operations while I like to say while I go out and play, while I go out and do the special monuments that we get to do and the carvings and the sculptures. And she runs all the business. We have many funeral homes that represent our business within a 300-mile radius of here. We go all over West Texas and all over New Mexico. Yes, I travel all over the United States and I do workshops. I really believe in continued education. I go out to the monument workshops, the computer workshops, the sculpting workshops, and take all the educational stuff that I can to help my business be the best that it can be. First of all, I want to introduce the master sculptor. His name is Edward Fleming. This guy right here, he's studied many, many years in Pietrasanta, Italy, and he's been in Galisteo now for quite a while. This is my friend Carl Burney. I've been carving with him for 12 years. He was one of my very first instructors in Jemez Springs, New Mexico at the Southwest Stone Carving workshop. So Carl, what kind of marble do you have?
This is Thasos marble from Greece.
Okay.
It's the same marble that was used to build the Parthenon. You can't see it in here, but there's, because there's too much going on, but there's lots. Oh, here you can see it down here. There's a bit of a grain in the stone, and it gives nice little flecks when it's all polished. It'll be very pretty.
And now we're here with Elizabeth Kidwell, and we get to call her Beth because we're all friends now. And she's from Scottsdale, Arizona. And I want her to tell you a little bit about her piece. She has got a phenomenal thought process that she's gone through.
As you can see, he's planting a seed or a plant. It's undecided yet. The thing that's wonderful about this, in my opinion, is that we have a hole here that's oriented for the sun, for the site where he's going. And light will be cast through this directly into the hole.
And Jacques is carving a hand. He's also carving the limestone. Now here we are, we're going to meet with Joe. Joe, give us your name and where are you from?
I'm Joe Sacamano. I live in Mosier, Oregon. I drove about 3 days to come to this workshop.
And you're a retired?
I'm a retired orthopedic surgeon.
Orthopedic surgeon. I'm carving a baby's face and part of the body. And I'm going to have grandmother's little hand coming up under the face. So I made a clay maquette. Hoping my baby's going to be 6 months to a year's old in that area. And then I've been studying some drawings. This is my friend Virgil Stevens' little nephew. And so that's my portrait that I'm going for right there. And then some of the paperwork that I'm studying, stuff that Edward gave me. So what I've done is I've started carving the face down in there, and I've got the hand forming out and starting to emerge out of the stone. I think it was a great choice that Ed asked us to carve limestone. The stone is very workable, and I had planned on starting this piece in Italian marble, and he talked to me about it, and we decided the limestone would be a better starting point. Okay, I want to get Edward's take on my piece here. So,
well, again, like Joe's piece, you're not only doing an extremely challenging piece, you're getting into another dimension of sculptural composition, which in stone is almost exponentially more difficult, and that is when you have two bodies in contact with each other, or even two parts of the same body in contact. Once you have skin touching skin, it's a whole nother dimension, and both compositionally and technically. But what we're trying to do, from the rough maquette to the finished piece, is to have a hand in contact with the face. And if you really start looking at this, there are concave and convex elements to the hand, just as there are on the face, and there are these magical places where they fit together, all of which is beautiful and wonderful, but actually carving that in stone is what is extremely challenging. So David's moving into this with real care and real precision, and one of the things he's doing is overlaying a network of lines that are indicating different aspects of the face. For example, the center of the nose, the root of the nose, center line of the eyes, center of the mouth, and so forth, both from a straight-on view as well as a profile view. And very gradually he's taking away stone from the front and then stone from the side, and moving from what looked exactly like this side 3 days ago into this, starting with very general forms of just the oblong shape of the head and the curved shape of the hand, into more and more specific work. And so we're basically working from again the vertical center line of the face, which in this case, since the baby's lying down, is a more or less horizontal line. We're developing, or I should say David's developing, the topographical composition of the face to this side of the line, and then with that as a guide, he's beginning to create those same forms on the other side of the center line, which are going to shape the head and the face and actually meet the hand. So he's really creating a meeting point or a juncture between the face, the edge of the face, and the edge of the hand, which is incredibly challenging, because if you miss where you're going and you take out too much stone, suddenly you have a void where in fact what you really want is skin touching skin. So he's following very exact profile lines, and again, remember, he's moving through solid stone to do that, and that's no simple task at all. But the thing that I saw David first thing this morning, and I just stopped by and asked him how he's doing, and he said, I'm meditating on this piece. I'm just getting myself into a very calm place. I'm studying the drawings, studying the maquette, and where we are in the piece, and I'm just settling my mind and my heart into where this is. And I think that's a really great way to approach this: staying calm, staying centered and focused, and you really can see this face beginning to emerge. And I think in not too long, it will be all the more recognizable. And I think it's going to be a successful piece.
Marble, Colorado a couple of years ago. And it's a really big workshop. It's one of the best in America. And I was out going through the marble pile looking for my piece of rock to carve. They give you 3 cubic feet. And I had went through thousands of pounds of marble and just couldn't find anything that would talk to me or anything. And I started walking off a little bit away from the rock pile, and under a big green juniper bush there was this gray toned piece of marble stuck, and it was alienated out there all by itself. So I rolled it out from under the tree to look at it, and I stood it up, and it had 2 big black spots on each side of the face, which were right there. They were really dark. The rest of the stone was a light gray block. It all started out as a 14 inch by 14 inch and about 3 foot tall. And I drew 2 circles around the eyes and just started carving into it. I didn't have a single drawing. I didn't have a single maquette. I just saw this cute little alien guy in there. Little short stubby guy with a big old long face and got his heart up there on his head. This is a 3,000 pound Etowah pink marble boulder that I went out and picked up in Georgia. And at first I was thinking I wanted to carve a panther, but I had saw a panther in Georgia, and so it wasn't that original of an ideal. So I just set the boulder out in my backyard and I walked by it for a year and 2 months. And one day I was walking by and I looked back at this direction, and I saw the little grandmother elephant sitting in a swing set with roses carved around her. And then the little babies, her little grandbabies, came up. And then over here I saw a female with her little baby tucked under her. And then I carved out a square box in the middle just so I could have some negative space. And that's where I got my name for the sculpture. I call this Pink Outside the Box. I actually went and found those on Mount Zion. I think those are the original copies. So after we bring the stencils out from the main office, we begin to get our center lines reconfirmed that everything's nice and centered. And we have a special tool called a center finder that we use. And we get everything lined up and down. And then from here we take it to the next process, which is putting it onto the stone. Right now what Brian is doing is he's cutting the outside of the panel and the flowers. We'll pull that part of the stencil and put it in the sandblast room and flash it. That way we have 2 tones on the stone to where it shows up. after sandblasting, we bring them out and we take all the stencils off, and then this is what your finished product looks like before we get it cleaned up. It's been a great honor to serve as past president of the Monument Builders of the Southwest. That's all of New Mexico and Texas. Our mission statement is to improve memorialization through the education of the membership and to increase awareness of memorialization to the general public. Recently, at the Monument Builders of the Southwest and the Louisiana-Mississippi Convention, I received the 2010 Memorialist of the Year. So out of several hundred monument businesses that we associate with, they picked me as their leader this year, and it was quite the honor.